This is VOA Africa.
Hello, I'm Esther Githui-Ewart. It's Tuesday, February 2nd. This is Africa 54. Due to the global outbreak of COVID-19, Voice of America is taking every necessary precaution to safeguard its employees. So our broadcast will look different today and in the near future as we, out of an abundance of caution, reduce our staffing at VOA headquarters here in Washington. We're working to help keep you informed about what's going on, and we appreciate you staying with us on Africa 54. Somali nationals in Kenya are welcoming President Joe Biden's lifting of a travel ban to the U.S. for some Africans, including Somalis, that was put in place over security concerns. Critics call it a Muslim ban, as most of the countries listed were Muslim majority. Brenda Mulinya talks to analysts on balancing the security concerns in this report from Nairobi.
When Amina Mohamed Ali left Somalia, Kenya was only supposed to be a stop on her journey to the United States. Her plans were cut short by former President Donald Trump's travel ban on largely Muslim-majority countries, including Somalia, which she invoked in 2017, citing national security concerns.
As we've indicated earlier, we're going to be signing a number of executive orders over the next several days to week. And I'm going to start today.
Now, with President Joe Biden's executive order lifting the ban, Amina's hopes have risen.
Everything is going to be okay now because for us, even if we haven't got the clearance yet, with Trump out, we now have hopes. We expect that with Trump gone, our problems are gone too.
In Nairobi's Esther neighborhood, where many Somali immigrants in Kenya live, others echo Amina's views.
You are restricted to go to the United States because of you Muslim or a Somali. And that one has been lifted. So it is fair game now. The whole world is one country. The whole nation are one.
Elkanah Odembo, a former Kenyan envoy to the U.S., says the ban was unnecessary.
There was no sound basis for introducing the travel bans. It didn't make sense. He never did justify it, but he did it.
But some security analysts worry with the travel ban lifted, some potential terrorists may now slip through.
Lifting the ban has actually opened the door for the good people. They'll be able to find solace, they'll be able to find peace, they'll be able to find a home. That notwithstanding, even the bad people may come along.
Almost 43,000 people, including students, tourists, and business people, were barred from entering the U.S. because of the travel ban, according to a 2019 study by the Brennan Center for Justice in New York. Now, many like Amina and her children will have another chance of realizing their dreams of getting into the United States. Brenda Mulinya for VOA News, Nairobi.
As President Biden settles into the White House, Michael Agwanda, a Nairobi-based political analyst, asserts that the United States must come together for the sake of worldwide political and economic stability.
When you have a superpower nation with a president that is perhaps not, a country that is not united, then everybody will be fearing because that's a person with a nuclear code. And if you have the nuclear code and your country is divided, then you will not be able to watch onto other nations per se. That means that you will not be able to make decisions that benefits other nations. So United States, this administration must unite the people in the United States of America, unite them to a point where they know that they are Americans and they're not based on parties or on tribe, on creed or color or whatever it is, that they are first Americans before the political parties. And I think that is key. And once they're united and they seem together as a nation, then they can go out there as a unit. They can go out there as a country that is spearheading human rights issues, that is spearheading democracy, that is spearheading issues of development and investment and economy that is now affecting everybody. Remember, if United States of America seem to be a little bit sluggish, the other countries are going to be falling for that reason. And so I really think this administration must specifically look into the unity of the United States of America and also unity of a global world.
That was Michael Agwanda, a Nairobi-based political analyst. Immigrants are referred to as aliens in the U.S. laws, but the term, seen by many as derogatory, could be replaced soon. VOA's Veronica Balderas Iglesias spoke to those in favor and against the proposed change.
The word alien, if you say it to an American, to a citizen, it's not going to affect them because they don't know what it is to struggle with that term and the struggle to fit in, the struggle to prove yourself in a country.
Seila Santiago was 2.5 years old when her parents left Mexico to pursue the American dream, immigrating to the U.S. She applauds President Joe Biden's proposal asking Congress to remove the word alien from immigration laws and change it to non-citizen, a more neutral term.
I get so emotional because it's just, to me, it's like, why call me an alien if I belong to you? I pay your taxes. I help your people. So I definitely agree that's something that has to be changed because it's more than just a word.
Considering it derogatory, California banned the term from its labor code in 2015. New York City started taking action last year.
We're taking out the word alien and putting non-citizen wherever there is any type of legal document or official document that comes from the city, and also in any of our city charter. We have not had any lawsuits. We haven't run into any issues.
But there is fierce opposition in U.S. conservative circles.
It's a term that's been used by many members of Congress. In fact, in a recent Supreme Court argument, the word illegal alien was used any number of times, tens of times. So I don't view it as dehumanizing. I view it as descriptive.
Lora Ries worked in the Department of Homeland Security under former President Donald Trump, who stoked anti-immigrant fervor over the last 4 years.
Under federal law, any individual in this country who is not a citizen is an alien. And if the alien is here without permission, they are here illegally. That should be the end of the story.
Changing the word alien wouldn't affect the way U.S. immigration laws work, say advocates. But it would signal that America is still a welcoming country.
There are logical and legal ways to change the terminology and make it work. The word non-citizen would actually be more inviting and reflect the way our society actually is.
And that means something. Korean Glo Choi, who recently lost a temporary visa, hopes for a path to U.S. citizenship under the more immigrant-friendly Biden administration. He says eliminating the word alien is personal.
I hope it changes people's perception of what an immigrant is. Just because you're originally from somewhere else doesn't mean you can't call a place home, and it doesn't mean that you don't belong in a place.
If the change happens, Choi says it should be followed up by laws to help those who, for reasons beyond their control, are still undocumented in the United States.
Human rights has no borders. The idea of human rights is that you're born with it. I need to be not an alien in my own home.
Veronica Balderas Iglesias for VOA News, Washington.
2 United Nations human rights experts are calling on Sudan to protect victims of intercommunal violence in the volatile Darfur region and for the perpetrators of the violence to be brought to justice. At least 163 people were killed and 50,000 displaced following violent clashes between the Arab and non-Arab Masalit tribes on January 16th and 17th in the West and South Darfur. Another clash on January 18th between the Rezigat and Palata communities in South Darfur saw another 72 killed and 100 families displaced. Cecilia Jimenez Damare, UN Special Rapporteur on the human rights of internally displaced persons, and Agnes Kamalad, a Special Rapporteur on extrajudicial summary and arbitrary executions, are both strongly urging the Sudanese government to step up its efforts to protect civilians, including those internally displaced. The chief executive of Airtel Africa says the telecoms company is focusing on growth in its existing markets and will not bid for licenses in Ethiopia, where the sector is being opened. Julian Setathwaite has more.
While some of Africa's telecom chief executives are planning a foray into Ethiopia, one of the continent's last closed telecoms markets, Raghunath Mandava is not one of them. The CEO of Airtel Africa says they'll be focusing on countries where they already operate.
We have a lower market share in Nigeria, Congo, DRC, Tanzania and Kenya. And our entire current focus is on these countries in order to grow. We are not looking at bidding for Ethiopia at this stage.
Ethiopia, Africa's second most populous nation, plans to sell a minority stake in state-owned Ethio Telecoms within 9 months and is tendering for 2 new licenses. On Monday, Ethiopia's telecoms regulator said it was extending the period to bid for the license by another month, citing requests by interested companies. But Mandava said Airtel Africa sees more room to grow in the 14 countries where it's already invested.
And I think we all need to work towards reducing this interconnect costs in some countries which are high like Kenya and ensuring that people will talk more.
He said the big focus for the company was Kenya and Tanzania, where they are rolling out, quote, huge networks. In Kenya, a merger between Airtel's local subsidiary and Telkom fell through last year. But Mandava said Airtel was now going it alone in its efforts to take on market leader Safaricom.
As you know, we've been consistently gaining market share over the last few years, and we are growing quite handsomely in Kenya.
On Friday, Airtel Africa reported an increase in 9-month revenue by 13.8% to $2.87 billion, though it also saw a slight decline in pre-tax profits to $482 million for the period to the end of December.
Julian Setathwaite of Reuters filed that report. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says medical regulators are set to begin testing the integrity of the country's first batch of AstraZeneca vaccine against COVID-19 before vaccinating frontline health workers. He made the comment during a national address late Monday, hours after he and other dignitaries accepted 1.2 million doses of vaccine that arrived at Johannesburg's International Airport Monday afternoon. President Ramaphosa says after healthcare workers get their shots, the country aims to vaccinate essential workers, people over 60 years of age, people with underlying conditions, and those living in nursing homes. The remainder of the adult population will get their shots in the third phase of the vaccination program. Ramaphosa says the nation is due to receive another 500,000 doses from the Serum Institute of India next month. Newly released global report says the use of contraceptives is significantly improving in Africa. The report, Family Planning 2020, says the number of users of modern methods contraceptives has grown by 66% to over 66 million women and girls since 2012. A global partnership that supports the reproductive rights of women and girls, FP 2020, in its annual progress report, The Arc of Progress, says despite making progress, some important challenges remain. For more insight, Africa 54 health correspondent Linord Moudou spoke with Beth Schlachter, the executive director of Family Planning 2020.
One of the important aspects of family planning programs, particularly in Africa, has been the improvement in the quality of the programs and the range of the commodities that are available. What we found is that when women can choose from short-term methods such as daily pills, or longer-term methods like an implant or an injection or even an IUD, that they can find out which method works best for them based on their lifestyle, their biology, just what their needs are. And that there's better uptake of family planning when women can choose. So a lot of the effort of the program has been ensuring that those contraceptive supplies, those commodities, are available, and that there's funding to ensure that they're reliably available across countries around the world. So there's been a lot of effort on that. There's also been an effort on the other side of this process, which we call more the demand side, which is working with individuals and with communities to understand what access to contraception might mean for women, because many women are unaware of contraception or the options that might be there. And There are also issues that often come up that are cultural, that are social, that might be a religious impediment to contraceptive use. So what the partnership tries to do is just support those people in country who want to work within their communities to increase access to contraception by talking through a range of these issues.
COVID-19 came last year globally with its own sets of challenges. How has it impacted the work on family planning?
Well, early on, the impact was really felt with regard to the commodities themselves. As you know, supply chains were radically disrupted in the early months. Those things have mostly evened out, but now what we're seeing is more of a lack of access, where the ability of women and girls to move around in their communities to seek health services is somewhat limited. We're also seeing that as individuals and families are hit by economically by the crisis as well, that they have fewer financial resources to invest in healthcare. And so we are anticipating that there's a pretty substantial decline there in the funding that's available for people to pay for that. So it's really one around access and then financing.
What are the key actions proposed by the report to amplify future efforts in family planning?
So one of the things that the partnership does is it works with country partners as a team, so that countries are setting their own goal, their own ambition about what they want to achieve. And then we provide support by connecting them to technical experts or other partners that can facilitate addressing the individual challenges that they're facing within each country. And so there's no one-size-fits-all approach. It really depends on what the country's priorities are. And again, the report allows you to go in country by country, see what their implementation plan is for family planning, how they intend to finance that, and what their priority actions are year by year. And then you can also look thematically. If you're more interested in something around supply chains or behavior change, you can also learn more about best practices there, or where there are these cultural and religious or social impediments that are really felt again around the world, and what advocates are doing to sort of work through those.
Did anything in particular stand out to you this year?
One of the really impressive things that's happened with regard to family planning has been the incredible growth in African countries. The number of contraceptive users in Africa has grown by 66% since 2012. That's from 40 million to more than 60 million. So there's a real demand there by women to use contraception. And there's really a demand for health partners to pull us together in a way that works better for women. We know that women also want to protect from STIs and HIV, and so we're also seeing that partners are thinking more holistically. There's new products that are coming online that allow women to use PrEP for HIV, the prevention drug. It's also, it's a dual prevention pill that can also prevent pregnancy. So I believe that there's a demand there by women to have commodities that work for them. They don't have to think about all the time. They can just take care of it in whatever way works best for them, feel that they're safe and they're protected, and then go on with other aspects of their lives. Because again, contraception is a tool. And so we just want women to be able to use contraception or family planning, again, non-hormonal methods, if they feel that's right for them.
Beth, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was Africa 54 health correspondent Linord Moudou speaking with Beth Schlachter, the Executive Director of Family Planning 2020. Coming up, as the second impeachment trial of former U.S. President Donald Trump looms, we'll explain the process after a short break. Stay with us.
Health, wellness, sport, beauty, medical breakthroughs. Healthy Living cares about your well-being. What are the main health concerns in Africa and around the world? Find out the latest on coronavirus. Connect with our experts and ask them questions.
How long does the virus stay?
Join me, Linord Moudou, in Washington, every week on Healthy Living, right here on VOA.
Welcome back to Africa 54. The U.S. Senate will hold a historic second impeachment trial of former U.S. President Donald Trump this month, ending with a vote to determine if he is guilty of inciting the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. As VOA congressional correspondent Katherine Gibson reports, lawmakers could decide to bar Trump from ever again running for federal office.
We need angry patriots to fill the House.
In the same hallways where rioters overwhelmed police just weeks ago, House Democrats on January 25th delivered the article of impeachment to the U.S. Senate, charging former President Donald Trump with inciting that riot after falsely claiming last year's presidential election was stolen.
We will never give up. We will never concede.
More than 160 people across the nation have been arrested and charged for their part in the January 6th siege, and hundreds more are under investigation. And the threat from domestic extremists remains urgent. The Department of Homeland Security recently warned, as a California man is charged for plotting to blow up buildings in Washington.
And Trump must be tried and convicted to ensure that no future president will ever think it's okay to incite insurrection.
Exactly 1 week after the riot, while Trump was still president, the U.S. House of Representatives voted 232 to 197 to impeach him. Well, some top Republicans have acknowledged Trump's role in the riot.
The mob was fed lies. They were provoked by the president and other powerful people.
Conviction requires a 2/3 vote of the Senate. Assuming all 50 Democrats vote to convict, that means 17 Republican senators would also have to find Trump guilty. Only 5 Republicans voted to move ahead with the trial against objections that trying a former president is not constitutional.
Republicans in the Senate are thinking about the potential role that former President Trump can play in Republican politics, whether as a participant or as a spoiler, and are going to vote based upon their sense of what the appropriate future of the Republican Party looks like.
Democrats are concerned there are not enough Republican votes to convict, and the Senate trial will distract from the first weeks of President Joe Biden's term. Some have proposed a censure vote that does not have any consequences, an option top Democrats have rejected.
Make no mistake, there will be a trial, and the evidence against the former president will be presented in living color for the nation and every one of us to see.
Trump's legal team has undergone several changes as he continues to claim election fraud. A simple majority vote could bar him from ever again running for federal office, but conviction is unlikely.
Nobody's been convicted, although some have been impeached. So this is really historic on so many levels, and particularly the charges. I mean, the notion that a president of the United States would essentially try a coup to remain in office when he has exhausted all legal remedies.
Trump is the only president in U.S. history to be impeached twice and will be the first former president to undergo a Senate trial. Katherine Gibson, VOA News, Washington.
Policy experts say they're encouraged by U.S. President Joe Biden's phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin after he addressed contentious issues while seeking common ground. VOA's diplomatic correspondent Cindy Seon reports on the future of U.S.-Russia relations.
The jailing of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny upon his return to Moscow after being poisoned has galvanized thousands of Russians to take to the streets in cities across the country. The White House says President Joe Biden raised the issue in his call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, and that the United States will continue to raise the issue at all levels.
He did not hold back in conveying his concern and about the treatment of Alexei Navalny and the treatment of protesters.
Navalny is also on the mind of Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who told reporters it is striking how concerned Moscow appears to be about one man.
As I say, we have a deep concern for Mr. Navalny's safety and security. And the larger point is that his voice is the voice of many, many, many Russians, and it should be heard, not muzzled.
Despite U.S. criticism of Navalny's treatment, Putin has praised the 5-year extension of the New START treaty, a fast-track action that comes just days before the last remaining U.S.-Russian arms control treaty was due to expire. Some foreign policy analysts say they are encouraged by what they see as Biden's realistic approach to Putin.
Biden's policy is clearly to speak as he sees it, the truth, when even the truth hurts, but at the same time to pick up on the things that will hopefully move the process ahead, where national interests of both countries is clearly on the line.
Other experts said it is crucial for the U.S. and other countries to speak up about Navalny and other human rights abuses in Russia, but they should not expect too much.
I think the United States needs to give up the dream that somehow our efforts are going to have any beneficial effect in political change in Russia.
After former President Donald Trump's reluctance to publicly criticize Putin, even as his administration introduced several tough measures against Russia, experts say Biden is setting a new tone for the next 4 years. Cindy Seon, VOA News, Washington.
With the coronavirus pandemic lockdown hurting businesses around the world, restaurants that delivered food became essential and even profitable. VOA's Ayub Demir talks to food delivery workers in Ankara, Turkey.
As in the United States, food delivery in Turkey's capital, Ankara, has played a big role during the pandemic in delivering food from restaurants to consumers who wanted to eat out but couldn't go to restaurants. Ankara delivery workers say the demand is higher than it has ever been before.
We have a high demand of delivery orders. We have 27 delivery guys, but it's not enough. We want to provide good and on-time service, but we still have shortcomings.
Turkey's government banned dining in restaurants in early 2020 because of the coronavirus pandemic, a move that led to a spike in the food delivery industry. But workers say delivering food in the busy streets of Ankara is not easy.
The food industry is very different and unique from others. People crave quick, fresh, hot meals when they are hungry. Our aim is to meet the demands of the customers, but the rush to get to customers can sometimes create traffic problems.
While restaurants in Turkey are now open for business with social distancing and face mask requirements, economists believe the food delivery industry will continue to expand for the next few years. One sign of this is that restaurants in Turkey continue to hire more delivery workers to meet the demand. For Ayub Demir in Ankara, Turkey, Bejan Hamdard, VOA News.
And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, thank you for watching.